Okay, it's day 113, part 3. And the new face involved here is going to be this guy named Oleg Deripaska. Just think of a pasta, like a seafood linguine, podesta pasta, daring you, getting up or maybe pointing a derringer at you. The little pasta jumps up off the plate and points a derringer at you, and then you'll never forget Oleg Deripaska. Why is he important? Because he's sort of a second generation from this Mark Rich generation. Mark Rich made a deal, sold out Russia. Basically, all the mineral wealth, he sold out Russia. And there was a episode I did a while back, a long time ago, 450 days ago, and it was of a journalist sitting in the hotel, I believe it was the Moscow Hilton, watching the White House in Moscow being hit with shells, and them trying to do as many deals as they could with all the metals and mining in Russia. And I believe it was Boris Yeltsin's son-in-law, and I believe Oleg Deripaska knows that son-in-law pretty well. So Oleg got the aluminum company, but it was really all about a company called Glencore, and I'll get there in a second. But now you've seen this come out, Oleg Deripaska come out into this new controversy that we have with Mark Warner, Senator Mark Warner, with Mark Warner trying to set up a meeting between Oleg Deripaska and also Mark Warner. So if you don't remember Oleg Deripaska, different strokes for different folks. He's Andy McCabe's lifelong friend. Everywhere Andy seemed to be, here was Oleg Deripaska. This is a great article by Thomas Paine last year, talking about how these case files, wherever Oleg Deripaska was, is where Andy McCabe was. You're going to find Andy McCabe's been involved, Uranium One, especially since 1998, every step along the way with Oleg Deripaska. Every step along the way. Read this article. It's a great article. So, if you haven't heard about the Mark Warner, this is what Mark Warner looks like right there. He is trying to do a back-channel secret meeting with Christopher Steele and an intermediary for this Russian oligarch. Now, for some reason, the Hill does not name the Russian oligarch, which is Oleg Deripaska. And that is the key thing here is, hey, we got to get this story straight. We got to somehow turn this around and get it back onto Trump, get it off of us. Somehow, some way, Mark Rubio thinks this back channel type communication in the midst of the embroiler that we're currently in with trying to overthrow the president is somehow a good idea to defend this kind of ex parte communication, which is highly suspect in the least. But as I said, it all leads back to Glencore. Glencore buys Oleg Deripaska's company. Basically what they do is they shard it into many little companies, and then they bring them all back into Glencore. If you don't remember, Glencore started by Mark Rich in 1974. Long history with the Clintons, 44 years now. As I said, this is all just Iran-Contra. It's just now Iran-Contra. Or Iran-Contra. They're the same to me now. I say Iran-Contra more easily now than I say Iran-Contra. So anyway, metals and mining, metals and mining, metals and mining. That's what it is about. And all you have to do is go down to countries that we've learned about through, like Mark Lambert. Oh, here's the Mopani mines that Glencore's in. I wonder if Mark Lambert's going to be near the Mopani mine. Oh, Democratic Republic of Congo. I wonder if they're going to be near the Shinkolobwe mine. Copper here. There's also going to be uranium as Katanga down here in the Katanga province, right? Okay, and what they did is they took all these metal and mining information that the Russians had, and then they just stole it. I mean, not stole it, but bought it for pennies on the dollar. I was actually in Czechoslovakia in 1989 while this was all going on. I witnessed it firsthand. Okay, a lot of it was being sold through Czechoslovakia at the time. Western Sahara, where have we heard that before? You know, for the mining there, for the phosphate. And then, of course, these Paradise Papers came out. This isn't the Panama Papers, but it looked at this guy named Dan Gertler, who was making all of these deals in Congo. And if you remember, OFAC, which is the overseas company, overseas part of the Treasury Department that seizes assets, Dan Gertler was one of the 7 that was recently, I think it was November or December, hit with sanctions. So this is all coming together. I think this is why the Rothschilds are selling too, because the Rothschilds are involved in this as well, and they don't want to lose their assets. They're going to get it into Bitcoin as fast as possible. So this is really collapsing. I believe this guy Laufman, who just left, and then I heard another aide outside of Rybicki just left, the FBI. This is collapsing so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. But we'll see where it goes. Laufman, it would be great to get an interview. Somebody on the internet should do a long-form interview with Laufman. Anybody who knows how to get a hold of Laufman, we'd love to interview him as well. You don't know where to start. Everything is collapsing so quickly, but we're going to try. But it's all going to come back to Mark Rich, as we've said. Iran-Contra, same thing.